Hi everybody and welcome to Meals with Melissa, where I come up with healthier versions of things that we all love to eat. So what I came up with today, sometimes we don't think about the fact that a lot of our condiments aren't necessarily our healthiest options. And so today we're going to talk a little bit about mayo. Now, commercially made mayonnaise has some issues. Now, if you take a look, now this is actually a light version, which you automatically think, well, that's healthier, right? Less calories, less fats. Okay, people, we forget fats can be healthy, and we need a certain amount of healthy fats in order for our brains to function correctly. That's what our cells are made of. And so, that's gotten a really bad rap over the last 20 years because, unfortunately, our government decided to give us this food pyramid garbage that really didn't benefit us whatsoever. And now we see this huge issue with obesity and, of course, nutritionally deficient issues, right? So let's talk about what commercial mayonnaise actually contains. If you look at, you can't just look at the label, guys, not just the nutrition label, you have to look at the ingredients. The problem is this particular mayonnaise, again, light mayo, contains soybean oil. Okay, let me just tell you, anything that is a vegetable oil that is highly processed is actually really highly oxidative in your body, which means it actually causes inflammation. So you gotta get off of the vegetable oil, the canola oil, the safflower, the sunflower. There's a lot of oils that are not healthy for you. Instead, we need to be using things like avocado oil, extra virgin olive oil, macadamia nut oil. There are some great options. As long as they're not highly refined, there are much better options for you. So that's one of the first issues. Food starch, eggs, which is fine. Sugar is the fourth ingredient in mayonnaise. That makes zero sense to me. Aren't we trying to avoid that? So not only are we getting unhealthy fats in a lot of these products that we don't even think about, right? Because you don't really taste the sugar. But then you're getting extremely unhealthy refined sugar in there. So, and then if you look, it also contains a bunch of additives and preservatives to make it shelf stable. So again, this is probably not your best option. I'm gonna show you really quick how to make your own. It's super simple, doesn't take very long. All you need is a few ingredients, some of which you probably already have in the house. Now, I actually had to go buy myself an immersion blender for this. Not complaining, it's good for all kinds of things. Usually my Ninja works for most everything, but for this, that's okay. I'm gonna utilize that. Okay, super simple. So first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take 2 egg yolks. So I've already plopped them in my bowl, and I'm just gonna really quickly allow the whites to come off. So egg yolk 1. And the egg yolks are where all the nutrients are, right? So, eggs for a long time got a really bad rap, but honestly, eggs are one of the healthiest things you can possibly get, especially if they are from, organic free-range chickens. Now, you gotta know what that actually means, because when you come down to the verbiage, sometimes that free-range doesn't mean much, but if you get them from like your local farmer or a neighbor who grows their own chickens, not a bad option. Okay, to that, I'm going to add 2 tablespoons of white wine vinegar. Okay, and I'm gonna take my immersion blender. Now this is so interesting because as you start to use your immersion blender on this, it's actually gonna thicken up. So you're gonna create your own mayo. Okay, so I'm just gonna pulse this for a second, for about 15 to 20 seconds. And I'm using a tall, I wanted you to be able to see what it looks like, so it's a clear, I'm just using a pitcher. But you can use anything that's tall. You just gotta make sure it's not gonna splash out the side. So a regular bowl probably isn't gonna work for what you need for this. Okay, so you're gonna combine that with your immersion blender for about 15 to 20 seconds, and then I'm going to start adding some avocado oil. Now you could also use extra virgin olive oil as well. I just happen to have some extra avocado oil. I like it. I like the taste of it. It works fairly well, and I get the version that's unrefined. Okay, the more processed it's been, actually the worse for you it is. So, all right. So to my little concoction here, I'm going to add about a 1/4 cup to maybe even a 1/3 cup of the oil, very slowly. I've got to let it have time to actually combine. Okay, and just use my immersion blender to keep going. Okay, so it says slowly add for 2 to 3 minutes. So it's gonna take a little bit of time. You've got to actually let the combination react together so it'll thicken up. Okay, and then once you've done that for about 2 to 3 minutes, we'll add the rest of the oil a little bit faster. By the time you're done, it will have actually thickened up into a mayo consistency. I was fascinated by doing this just to try and see if it worked. All right, so I can see that it's already just barely starting to thicken up just a little bit. It's gonna take me a second. So why I like to do this is I actually like to show that, you know, one of the biggest issues that you have when you're trying to live a healthy lifestyle is making sure that, especially if you're using some processed foods, that you're paying attention to the ingredients. I also looked at a ketchup version, like sugar-free ketchup version. The problem, it just didn't turn out quite the way I wanted it to. But if you don't think about it, because I mean, ketchup tends to be a little more savory, right? They add sugar to it. You have to pay attention. We get sugar in the weirdest places. You just have to learn to, again, not just read the label, because a lot of times the label will tell you it has 0 sugar because they follow a loophole, which just means that it has 0 sugar because it's under 0.5 grams per serving size, which, you know, in some things is like 1/4 of a teaspoon. So that doesn't work very well for that kind of an option. So learn to read your ingredient labels. I personally don't like to put anything in my body that has more than 4 or 5 ingredients, because at that point, it's just telling you it's just highly processed, and it's gonna turn to sugar in my system immediately. Okay, so it's starting to thick up just a little bit. I'll finish it and then I'll show you the finished product. It's pretty, it looks just like regular mayo. All right. Getting it in there. All right, so like I said, slowly I'm gonna add the rest of the olive oil, just in small amounts, giving it time to combine. Okay, and just for time, I'm gonna show you what it's gonna end up looking like. I made some last night. Now, the benefit is, once you've made it, you can just put it in a sealed container and store it in your fridge up to a week. Now, because it doesn't have a lot of additives and preservatives in it, it's not gonna last like something that you buy commercially, because of course that's got additives and preservatives in it. You realize your body doesn't know what to do with those additives and preservatives, and so it can either wreak havoc. I consider them toxins in your body, and a lot of times what your body will do, because it's so toxic in nature, it will actually shove those toxins into your adipose tissue or your fat stores. One of the reasons why a lot of my clients, when they start to burn off that fat, find themselves getting super, super sick, is that those toxins that your body stores are actually re-released into your system. And without ways of flushing that out super easily, you know, that will become a problem. Before I'm finished, I just want to make sure that we add a 1/2 teaspoon of sea salt to our mixture. Now, normally we would add it at the end, but just for time today, I just want to show you. Okay, I'm just gonna keep mixing. This is the consistency that it will end up as. I'm gonna put a little bit on a spoon. It worked out perfect. Like, I'm not gonna complain whatsoever. Look there's my mayo, right? So it's a healthier version of something that you may already love. Now, I know, I hear this from clients all the time. Yeah, but aren't we supposed to do low fat? No, remember that came from the same part of our BS government that told us, hey, we should be doing high carb, low fat. That's garbage, guys. They're now finding, studies are showing that we need a certain amount of healthy fats in order to function correctly. And of course, now all those refined sugars and all of the grains and things that turn immediately to sugar in our system is what's causing all of the health issues that we're having. So mix this till it thickens up, store it in a sealed container in your fridge up to a week, and you can use it on anything that you want, especially if you're doing some form of low carbohydrate. Not a huge fan of keto, but you know, if you're doing more of a ketosis style lifestyle, it's something that you can absolutely use because it's really super low in carbs. So have an incredible day, you guys. Happy Father's Day. I hope you guys are doing something great for your fathers, husbands, and members of your family. And until next week, that is Meals with Melissa. Have a great weekend, guys.